Good day. I just wanted to put out another video because I want to teach. I want to let people, teach younger people how to understand a little bit about economics and real estate and the value of assets. I'm uh, I'm in my 40s, so I've been around, owned a few houses. But what's going on right now in Canada, but in particular BC, we have a housing boom going on. Now, the housing boom is fueled by cheap credit, right? Which is low interest rates. So we've got interest rates that are close to zero, historically low interest rates. Um, a moderate price interest rate would be somewhere around 6%, 6 to 8%. That would moderate everything and allow the stabilization of our housing market by and automatically decreasing the value of the houses so that the future can afford to borrow and buy a house the way it's supposed to work. Because when you have a moderately priced house, you have at a good base interest rate, you're going to be able to afford your house, right? And a house is, you can't think of a house as a financial investment. You have to think of a house as a home, because it's going to go up and down throughout the period of time that you own it, and your end goal is to have that house paid off without borrowing against it through the duration of your mortgage. So that's where this problem comes in. We have people, younger generations, my age and younger, that have been brought into this low interest rate environment. Now, everybody knows that interest rates are going to go up. They have to go up, and if they don't raise them, and they do lower them, they're going to be coming to there's a couple of countries that have a negative interest rate, right? I couldn't see us going to a negative interest rate, because what that creates is it creates a run on the bank, unless people will save their money, because who wants to lose money just by keeping it in the bank? So you keep it under your mattress or in a safe or wherever you're going to put it. What just happened with the new government, um, this new government loan that they want to give? They want to loan people who are buying their first house a certain percentage of their down payment. Now, interest free for 5 years. Now, whether it's interest free or low interest rate, I'm pretty sure it's interest free, but don't quote me on that one. You'd have to check it out for yourself. But what happens with that? So instead of having your minimum 5% down when you buy your first house, you're really only putting 1% down, and you're borrowing the other 4%. Now, wow, you'd think, whoa, okay, that's easy for me to get in a house. But the thing that you've got to remember is that that is called a subprime crisis. Now, if you remember in 2008, what subprime is you owe more for your asset than what it's worth, right? So right now we have, for instance, people are buying all these new trailers, right? They're like 30-foot trailers, and they're taking out these loans. Now, I looked at it myself, and these loans on these trailers are for 20 years, right? You take that $35,000 trailer, you span the loan for that trailer over 20 years. In the end, you're spending about $72,000 to $75,000 on a trailer that, when when it's paid off, you're going to be lucky if it's worth $5,000. Does that make any sense? Any sense whatsoever to anybody? No. That's called subprime. The same thing with a car, right? You take out a loan for what they got them for 7 years now or 8 years, buy yourself a new car, right? You get a low interest rate or whatever. But in the end, how much are you paying for that bloody car? You know what I mean? And the car depreciates as soon as you buy it. So the way of thinking in our society to buy on credit has fueled this huge problem. It's not just our problem, it's a world problem, right? But it's fueled such a problem in I like to call it the me generation. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I should have that now or buy it now and don't worry about saving because I'll just pay it off. Well, none of that makes sense. What it actually does is it turns you into a slave. Now, hear my theory on this one, right? You go to work, you get up, you go to work, you get up, and payday comes, you get your paycheck. How much do you have left? Government takes their 24 to 42%, depending on how much you make and what your income is. So that's gone right off the top. You get your money, you got to pay on your loans, right? Say you got a car loan and a trailer, say you got credit cards. What happens? Whoa, at the end of the day, you're paying on something you've already used, or it's like in the past, you don't remember about it. My theory, my reason for making this video is I want to try to make young people and people understand that we are robbing from our future generations. We're robbing from our children. We're robbing from their children, and it's not just in the credit aspect. It's in the government as well, right? They like building this new dam when like it's pretty much obsolete technology before they even start it. And we're borrowing all this money. It's not for us to pay back. We'll never pay it back. It's for like our grandkids and our great grandkids. Why give them that burden? You know. So I'm trying to teach people that it's a good idea to save your money. But when you save your money, you're not a slave to anybody. You are your own person, right? You take that money, you put it away, you invest it. Bitcoin, man. Like you can make a fortune off that stuff, and you can shop online with it. But anyway, that's another story in the future. But saving and investing is the best way to stop yourself from becoming a slave. You don't want you want to see your paycheck at the end of the week. You know, you want to see your paycheck at the end of every 2 weeks or once a month or whatever you do. You know, you want to see that money in your pocket so you can get the things that you want or save it. That's all there is to it. And it's created such a problem. Like I don't even think anybody's talked about subprime car loans in Canada. Or this new subprime mortgage thing that they're going to come up with people, with loaning people their down payment. It's a huge mistake, because once those interest rates start going up, and it's inevitable, it's definitely inevitable, the interest rates are going to go up, then these people are going to be stuck buying a house that's overpriced already, borrowing the down payment for it, just barely being able to make the payments on it, on their mortgage, and then having to pay this loan back in 5 years. Think about it, you guys. Like, do you want to be one of those people that becomes a slave to debt? A slave to debt. Yes, that's what I said. Don't do it. Save that money and buy it when the time is right. Because if you can save for the next 5 years, instead of jumping into it now, you're going to be way better off, because the price of houses are going to come down as soon as they start going up 1% or 0.25%, 0.25%. They've already raised interest rates once in the States. And the problem that we're going to have, though, too, is that real estate makes up 12%. You can Google this and find out, but it makes up 12% of our GDP in Canada. What makes up the rest of our percentage is another huge percentage was oil and gas industry, right? Oil and gas industry has taken a huge beating in the last 2 years, right? Look at oil right now is sitting at $47 a barrel, when it was at one point it was at 150. So we've already lost so much of our GDP, and now what they're basing GDP on now, which is gross domestic product, is sales, store sales, right? But it's already been said that all the sales that have been happening are all on credit cards. People are using their credit cards to do their daily living, right? So what does that tell you? Think about, what does that tell you if our GDP is now based on people using credit to buy their groceries and to buy their things that they want? What does that tell you? It tells you there is no real money in the system, right? So just the warning to watch out. Don't buy into this market. There's no way anybody should be borrowing half of their down payment to get in. They're just creating a 2008 housing bubble all over again, right? It's not good. Anyway, that's all I have to say today. Thank you for listening. If you like what I say, share it, and subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to have more videos coming out anytime. Thank you. Bye.